Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk Podcast Show. Mark and Ken.
What's the story?
Episode 156 of the Shite Talk Podcast Show.
Yeah.
Do you know, ever since we started counting down to 204,
Yeah.
and ever since you told me what was 59 episodes away?
Yeah.
I think it was 59 episodes away.
49.
49 episodes. Yeah, now it's the case where I get anxiety now. That, I feel the immense mental pressure that we actually have to do something for the 204th episode. And every time a week goes by where I'm just like, oh, I haven't actually put anything in place, and now I have 10 less episodes than I actually thought.
We'll come up with something.
I know. It's just like that anxiety is going to be there until the 204th episode. Anyway, has been a week since we've talked, so anything strange with you?
Not really, no, not a thing. Week's holidays this week.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so no work.
And Ken, you are living in Offaly, so you're freedom. You have a freedom now.
Yeah, I have freedom.
What have you done with this newfound freedom?
Not much. I'm heading off to Cork tomorrow.
Oh, that's nice. At least, unlike the people stuck in Kildare, you're not still under lockdown. Even though, I guess, training's still off the table because you train in Kildare.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the mad thing about the whole thing. My address is Offaly. I literally just live here. But I spend most of my time in Kildare. Yeah.
So you're still sort of in a lockdown in the sense, everything you want to do, community based, is still in lockdown because you're.
Yeah, everything is in Kildare.
Yeah.
But it's just mad that I can go, obviously you can go and drive to Cork tomorrow. But if I was living 2 kilometers away from where I actually live, I can't.
They say Kildare's in lockdown, but it's really, I haven't seen any guards. It's not really lockdown. They're kind of just advising Kildare people to be in lockdown. Self-isolate yourself. But we're not going to actually enforce this at all. But, it's going to be another 2 weeks. That means the only really problem that I have with it is, I can't go training. I don't go to restaurants. I'm not going to go to a pub that you have to sit at a table and order food and get kicked out after an hour. I'd rather just go to somebody's house and self-isolate there with a few drinks.
The training part is really annoying.
Yeah, but the only really bad part of it is training. And yeah, because when it was coming up to, when the numbers were getting really, really low and we were back training, I was going to say, you know what, we might as well start doing a podcast in person. It's only 6 cases, so there's 1 in a million chances of us catching it. And then boom. And then literally the next week, it was just the numbers started going back up again. I was like, I'm going to leave it. Let's do it over phone for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's just mad,
It really is. And it's just going to, then you have, I think, I'm sorry we're not talking about, if this happened in any other country, I kind of feel Golfgate.
Yeah.
I kind of feel if Golfgate happened in any other country, we'd be talking about it on the podcast.
Oh, 100%. We should probably actually talk about it.
Yeah, we probably should actually talk about it.
Why did neither of us think of this?
This is going to be a very unresearched story for anyone outside Ireland. But yeah, and it's I guess we might as well talk about it now since we've brought it up. I kind of a fear about talking about it to political or coronavirus based people. Go, oh God, not this. But but
everybody's kind of talking about it, so it's
okay. Well, you're gonna have to hear it from us. This is the Shite Talk version of the story, like any other version, but without any facts.
That's okay. I know a bit about it.
Okay, so it's basically Golfgate for anyone outside Ireland or maybe people who are from Ireland, living somewhere else. Not really too sure what Golfgate is. It's a secret society because the leader of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou McDonald, said she had no idea about this society. It was basically a society with politicians that also involved lawyers and businessmen, basically 80 people Now, just before the society based to have golf due,
It's not really a secret thing though.
well, it's not. They say it's not a secret thing, but Mary Lou McDonald didn't hear about it, so it's kind of just Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael.
She's not in the
loop.
The like government. What's it called? Golf society.
Let's say it's not a secret, but it probably isn't. And basically, they had 80 people at this do. The idea of it was that they'd all get together, play a few games of golf, and there'd be talks and stuff like that. Except, like, literally only a week before, and like everybody that was at this dinner, at this kind of golf thing, were kind of more or less involved with creating. There's literally lawyers who wrote up the bills for the restrictions to go in place, the legal text that's needed. There's politicians who put them in. There's European ministers there. There's pretty much anybody who's involved would have been involved in some form of the restrictions through the coronavirus at some stage, other than the big heads of the parties like the leader of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And they weren't there, but we would have known about this thing going on. There was about 80 people there, except in the restrictions in Ireland, you're not allowed to have more than 6 people in a building together unless it's going to mass, which is just mad in itself. Like the restrictions, like that's another thing. We like honestly, if these were restrictions were brought in somewhere else, these were like brought into the US, we'd be kind of slagging off the United States. And I think 15 outdoors, 6 indoors, and there are some exceptions. Like if you want to go to mass, you can have 50 indoors, and I think it's same for a wedding. It was about 50 as well, but you have to be socially distanced. So these had 80, and they tried to get around it by having them in 2 different rooms. And so it was like, I think it was like 40 in each room. So they're technically staying under that 50 barrier, but they would have been mingling anyway, because they would have been outside playing golf.
That's basically it, yeah. Well, it's resulted in like 2 ministers, I think, resigning, and
several more losing their chief whips positions in the party.
Out of political parties.
Yeah, and yeah, well, like I think first of all, Ireland was going on so far. We've been kind of looking back and kind of lagging a little bit what's happening in the US, and anywhere that we've seen these weird restrictions or weird rules, we're kind of going, aren't you all silly? Look at us being very sensible. No. We are the good boys. We're doing this right. This is the way we're meant to do it. Our numbers are low. And then Fianna Fáil took over. And like, it's not that I have anything against Fianna Fáil as a party as a whole. And Fine Gael are in the party, but it's kind of a little bit ironic that they're in the party a wet day and they're already organising fucking these dues with bankers, politicians and businessmen. Literally the kind of stuff that used to happen that caused the last recession is all these backhanders. Literally they're in the door and they're like, yeah, we've completely changed. Now we're going to have a small golf gathering together and don't worry about it. No brown envelopes. Everything's done electronically now, probably via Revolut.
Revolut.
Yeah, probably, because like obviously they can't be handling money. But like the same shit still goes on. So it's kind of like Fianna Fáil just let their like mask slip. They're like, oh no, we've completely changed. We've kicked out all those people who used to give backhanders and allow planning permission to go through when it shouldn't really go through. That's all changed. We're new, reformed Fianna Fáil, and then this happens.
I just think it's like fucking funny, like.
Oh yeah, like I think Jason Byrne, we shared on our Facebook page. Jason Byrne did a video which pretty much sums up how every Irish person, when these restrictions came in, there's like you can only have 6 in the house unless you're going to mass. Then you can have 50 because apparently the coronavirus doesn't go to mass.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, and then we can also have schools, even though you're not meant to. Even though once again, 6 limited indoors, so you can't have more than 6 people in your house unless you're going to school. When then there's going to be hundreds of people in schools, and then they have to wear masks when they're going to school, but when they're in the school itself, in the room together, they don't have to wear masks. Fine. That's fine. Yeah. The coronavirus won't be in the school.
Yeah, the teacher will keep it.
It has the kind of same anti-coronavirus as churches. They just don't go into schools or churches. It's a well-known fact.
Yeah, did you not know that?
Yeah, and then he was like, okay, old people have to cocoon. Except if they don't want it, then they don't have to. Like every time you brought a restriction, people were asking about like, oh, what about GA players playing again? They're like, oh yeah, that can continue. What about old people going to mass?
fine.
Yeah, they can go to mass, even though they're meant to be cocooning. It's like, what about schools? Oh yeah, that can go on. Everything can run the exact same that has been running before this. But we're just bringing these restrictions anyway. Why are the numbers going out of control? What's happening? Why are all these flashing red lights happening everywhere?
What's going on?
That's what basically Ireland is right now.
Why is the country on fire?
Yeah, why is the country on fire? Who owns this dog? Like, literally, is what the country. And then we get hit with like all these storms as well.
Anybody for a game of golf?
Yeah, anyone for a game of golf? Leo, give me suggestions. He's just like, I'll take over in a few months and I'll look like a god.
Yeah, you wanted a job, you got it.
You got the job. You well done. Leo's just sitting back because literally everyone's like, where is the like former minister for finance? You hear about Trampoline Gate as well?
No,
Minister for Health.
At the minute,
yeah,
Stephen Donnelly.
Stephen Donnelly. So he was being questioned, I think it was like on RTE, and they were talking about the seriousness of the coronavirus. And he talking about when you're opening up the country, you're taking more risks. And he's like, well, he takes risks every day. Like, it's inherently dangerous for your kids to go on a trampoline. And she's like, are you seriously complaining going on a trampoline to the coronavirus? Like, and he's like, driving your car is an inherent risk and you do it every day. And she's like, you can't catch driving a car going to the supermarket. You can't actually accidentally be involved in a trampoline accident if it's nowhere near a trampoline. Like, you can't be like on your way to school and get involved in a trampoline accident, but you can catch the coronavirus. He's just like he's trying to compare everyday risks to the coronavirus, saying that yeah, we're just gonna have to take risks. And it's like, this is our Minister for Health, and then we also have this brown envelope fucking golf society good thing going on at the weekend as well. Yeah, so like, just like, Ireland is a mess. Ireland's now just as bad as everywhere else. We apologise for slagging these off.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. But we do now know how it feels.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of feeling that some of the politicians out there, especially if you're in power, would really love an alter ego. Because some of them just slip into maybe costume in disguise that allows them to walk down this.
How long have you practiced that one?
Oh, I just seen it. I was like, how do I segue onto our actually first story? Like, slip in to go to the shops without being recognised. An alter ego would be perfect. Ken, have you ever had an alter ego? Have you ever got into a kind of a mode or did something in order to like change your mindset?
Not really, no.
Now, I have done it for competitions. And I've like done it for the driving test where I'd wear certain things, and the idea is that
like you're lucky jocks.
No, not that they're lucky. That I associate that thing with that activity. So I'd wear a certain. I remember for my driving test, I wore a certain pair of shoes that I used to only wear them when I'm either getting lessons or when I was doing my driving test. And the idea was that if I dressed the same way, it'd be easier to slip into the mindset of driving how you're meant to drive for a theory test or your driving test. And that's the way I did it. Now, the time that I did that, because it was like my third attempt, I passed it. The other two previous times, I didn't do it. Now, eventually I was going to pass it. Like, it could have just been the third time was like but like, it was that thing that changed it. And for competitions, I would do similar things. Now, it hasn't always worked out for competitions. But yeah, so that, I don't know if that's slipping into an alter ego. But basically, that's what they're saying people need to start doing, is creating an alter ego for themselves. And several alter egos. The idea of it is that it's meant to reduce anxiety, boost self-confidence, and help with determination.
But surely it's also not good for your mental health.
I also thought it was basically what schizophrenia is all about. It's basically having an alter ego. I thought that was a medical like disease or condition that like you need a serious treatment for. But so there's a term of self-distancing. So apart from self-distancing from everybody else, we're now being told that we now need to self-distance from ourselves as well through this alter ego.
Surely it's impossible though to like make have an alter ego like
Batman has an alter ego.
Yeah, but like that's Bruce Wayne is Batman with or without the suit.
Yeah.
He's still Batman.
Yeah, but people are, if he jumps off a building and without the suit, people are going, "Oh, there's Bruce Wayne jumping off a building."
But like the way that they're saying it is like use an alter ego to make yourself more confident or do things that you wouldn't normally do. Either way, you're still going to be the same person, though.
What they say is that the idea of what self-distancing from yourself is to separate yourself from your emotions. Now, they did this by telling people to talk about themselves in a third person.
Isn't that like what serial killers do?
I don't know. I don't know if serial killers talk about themselves in a third person, but my nephew, I should say, talks to himself in a third person, and it's hilarious because he's 5 and it's cute.
You see, that's okay. You should have prefaced that way. He's 5.
Yeah, he's 5, so it's cute, right? If you go to work tomorrow and you start talking about yourself in a third person, you're going to get some weird looks.
Yeah,
but I think it was BBC was either in this report or published this report on this, and they did it like this is like all backed up by studies. Things are said are studies like. I don't know how scientific they are. Like, I know certain biologists or chemists, when it comes to, like, the brain and in terms of psychology, they kind of roll their eyes when they call themselves scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because it's not actually explained why it's not. I remember talking to a few people who study chemistry and be like, you kind of roll their eyes when it came to, like, psychologists and in terms of an actual legit science. Anyway, so what they did was they got people to give a public speech. Basically said, instead of, like, if we were giving a public speech, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm going up next to give a speech about whatever," what they were told to do is say, "Mark is going to give a speech about whatever." So the idea is like you separate yourself from the actual speech. So you're taking your nerves out of it when you think about it, and you're meant to look at it. Apparently, I think a third of them felt better, managed their anxiety when they put this into practice.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems a bit fucking
like. I definitely think it's a bit weird. Now, I remember talking to Dan Strauss, and he does this same thing with denim. He calls them PEDs, performance enhancing denim, where he wears denim clothes because he associates it with lifting weights. So when he knows when he's in denim, he's going to lift weights. He's going to lift something heavy. So it gets him into the mindset of a weightlifter or a strong man. And
does Dan Strauss like always wear denim?
Yeah, that is very true. He also said there's like been studies done on like people who wear like pink clothes and become more artistic and science jackets and become more mathematical than they normally would be. So there are having like certain studies that have like trying to determine people's clothes can like alter their thought process.
Kind of really though.
Well, the study then, after they did that study with adults, they did it with 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
So the 6-year-olds, they got set them right into 3 different groups. One group was basically, they're just told to press spacebar every time they've seen a picture of cheese. And when they got bored of it, just say, like basically, I probably should keep pressing this picture of cheese. Try to convince themselves to like stay pressing the picture of cheese. Second group, they're basically the third person group. Like, let's say Ben should really say pressing the spacebar for cheese, but they left toys in the room as well, kind of like enticing them to play with the toys. Now the third group, they were told to dress up as a superhero or a character, and instead of like saying Ben or I, they had to say, what would Batman do? Which is also how I conduct most of my life, is basically, what would Batman do? That's how all my life decisions get made. So, like, if it works for me, these kids
and what does Batman generally do?
make a mess of things, apparently.
Cause injury to friends.
Yeah. Turn up to jiu-jitsu. Forget all other responsibilities. And so basically what happened after they did this, the group that was, had asked themselves, what would Batman do, did 23% better than other two groups, and the third person group did 10% better than the control of this person just thinking about of themselves. So it's kind of mad, but by the looks of things, it does kind of work. If you can believe your fake alter ego, it can help you alter, or at least if you believe in it enough, that it can possibly help you get into the mindset of whatever task you're doing. They're saying you should have multiple alter egos, not just like two. You should have for whatever the occasion. So if you're like being romantic with your wife, you should have a romantic alter ego. If you're being like in work, you should have a work alter ego.
That's just, like,
I don't know to what extent now.
That's a bit Walter Mitty.
Yeah, explain that.
Do you not know Walter Mitty?
No.
He like pretends that he's all these different things. Like he pretends that he's a fucking pilot, or pretends that he's like a master chef, and really he's nothing.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think there's a difference about being delusional, and
but that's basically what they're telling people to do: is be delusional,
disassociate yourself from your emotions.
I don't know. It just seems like, why have a different alter ego for every aspect of your life?
I don't know. I think maybe
why not just be yourself, and
I think that maybe they
do fucking everything.
I think maybe like when you're doing a certain task, that you have an image of a person in your head is really good at this task. So if you're thinking like a painter, so you maybe imagine Michelangelo or like a famous painter like that. So if you try to get into the mindset of what would Michelangelo do when he's coming to paint, how would he like act in a room? How would he attack this painting? And like, even though
it's not going to make you any better at painting,
but it'll get you, like, the idea is that what the studies are trying to show is that it gets you more, so it improves you better than your control of if you're just going, all right, I'm going to paint a picture. It gets you into more of a mindset of it, and improves it by 23%. So it'll be 23% better. Like, it works for me when I did my driving test, but like that's the only other time like I can prove to, like, where I said I focused on, but could be just that I really concentrated. That fact that I failed twice, that I was more determined to pass it the third time. Yeah,
it's just the fact that you're more concentrated on doing it and that you want to actually achieve something. Definitely hocus pocus.
Yeah, like I said, like I think when it comes to psychology or stuff like this, like the word, like I can't really call it science. Like, they do interesting tests, and like this told the fact that like the kids dressed up as Batman did 23% better is interesting. But there's a lot of variables that can go into that.
They're kids.
Like those kids could have done 23% better anyway. Like there's a lot of variables that go into that study, and sometimes you can cherry pick what you want from the information. That there could be something still in it, like we don't know. But I guess if it helps you, like if you have an alter ego and you feel like it helps you, like, fair enough, go for it. Whatever works for you, I guess.
Yeah, absolute lunatic.
Yeah. Other people might call it schizophrenia. Like, who knows? One person's mental illness is another person's trick to passing a driving test.
Yeah, there'd be more split personalities.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, more split. When you start talking to your alter ego, though, then it's schizophrenia.
Yeah, no, it's still not. Schizophrenia is more paranoid.
Is it?
Yeah, it has a bad rap.
Well, remember that movie where your man suffered from it and he turned into two different people? It was like a really kind of, it was a comedy. What's his name? Was it Ace Ventura guy?
That's what I mean. That's why, like, movies have schizophrenia portrayed incorrect.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. What do you think is a schizophrenia coming from a movie is actually split personality disorder.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about a person who steals a body? What is that? What's the terminology for that?
I don't know, just creep.
I think grave robber. I think is the only thing it is.
Yeah, grave robber, maybe. Yeah,
But you have
good
two.
segue.
Yeah, you have two stories. Both of them involve dead bodies. We'll get onto the first one, and this is one about a person's body being stolen.
Yeah, so like this is actually a famous body being stolen.
Ooh,
Drew Barrymore. Everybody knows Drew Barrymore.
yeah.
And I actually didn't know this. Drew Barrymore actually comes from a famous acting family.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Her grandfather was considered the best actor of his generation. There you go. Well, he died in 1942, and before he died, it was like him and a whole bunch of like Hollywood acting legends, and they called themselves the Bundy Drive Boys, and they were similar to like the Hollywood vampires in the 70s and the 80s. They were just like a bunch of famous people who loved going around drinking and doing drugs and being mental. And surviving members of the group went on a drinking binge when he died. And the actor Errol Flynn, you know Errol Flynn? Ever heard of him?
No.
No, he's like a famous actor from like the 50s.
Like Ken, I couldn't remember who played Ace Ventura. Actors and names go straight out of my head.
Yeah, he's like famous in like the 40s and the 50s.
Okay.
And he stole John Barrymore's body from the county morgue and drove him around to a mansion so that they could have a party with him after he died.
That is incredibly weird. So this is not now like a recent story. This is only a story that like kind of came out.
It was like it's one of those Hollywood legends. Like nobody ever knew whether or not it happened. Drew Barrymore recently confirmed that Errol Flynn stole her grandfather's body to have a party with in 1942.
I wonder if it was like a dying wish of his. The party, like that was kind of like the covenant of the group. Is like when one of us dies, our wake has to have them in it, or like that we have to.
Well, like Drew Barrymore said in this interview, she said that she's requested of her friends that when she died, they do the exact same thing.
I guess it's kind of a wake. Irish people kind of do it anyway. We like, okay, we don't steal a body for like American and Canadian, or anybody who's listening from a different country. We don't steal bodies, but like a wake in Ireland is like after a person dies, you bring the body to a house. And then you have a party. You have a party, yeah. And so, like, I guess they're just basically having a wake by the sounds of it. Like, there's nothing too wrong with that.
Except that the body was stolen.
Yeah, the fact that like, the body didn't actually return to the church the next day is.
But like, what was weirder is like how did he manage to steal the body?
I don't actually know. Like,
I know, like, it's 1942, so probably, like, people were kind of a bit more lackadaisy with, oh, everybody's a nice guy.
Well, I think it's more that they're famous, so you go into a morgue and you're, oh, that's my friend, whatever. I'm just going to take the body. Don't say anything. Here's money.
But the fact that there was a famous body, though, like, would kind of...
But if a famous person... Another famous person comes in and wants to take the other famous person. Like it kind of is like, okay, they probably know each other because they're both famous. They're both relatively big names. So if it was some random guy, I'm pretty sure he probably told to jog on.
Imagine if he got stopped by the cops, like on the way to the party with his dead body in the car.
Yeah, it is amazing that like obviously this is kind of set in a time where everything was more grand, at like to the point where like I don't think now, no matter how famous you are, if they went in now and said like, I don't know, like think of a famous actor that when say I'm just going to take that person's body to bring to a party, they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah, fuck off.
Are you fucking mad? There's cameras there. I'll lose my job. I'll go to prison. Fuck off. Whereas I kind of think before, it's like, yeah, they're famous. They probably know each other. It's grand.
Yeah, it's fine.
But I'm surprised that the family was so cool about it. They're like, they're at home like grieving. They're like planning a funeral. It's a very, very sad time. And then they're like, oh, they go to the hospital, collect the body, and they're like, oh, it's no longer there.
Where is it? Oh, Errol Flynn took it.
Apparently he wanted to have one last send-off with him.
Yeah, oh, fair enough.
He said he knew about it, and you're like, oh, well, that sounds like Earl.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Damn it.
you're like, hey, Earl, I heard you had a get together with my dad. Yeah. Do you know where the body is? Actually, I don't. Okay, Earl. Cool. If he
That's
turns
another
up,
question. What happened if you lost it? Like, they were obviously all like fucking off their tits at this party.
but they obviously did lose it if like his body went missing.
You know, he didn't go missing. Like, he just, just stole him and had a party with him and then gave him back.
Oh, the fact, yeah, well, then it's basically a wake, isn't it? I know that in order to have the wake, they have to steal a body. It makes it a little bit more sinister.
Just a tad.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's mad that like that one day are allowed. 100% is because they're famous. Like, if that was just like any random person going, I'm just gonna take this body, they're like, no, you're not. You're not having sex with it. Because 100% that's what they would have been on. Because that's what happened to Marilyn Monroe, isn't it? She like,
what?
I think they found 7 different guys. This is like completely could be fictional story. But they found 7 different guys semen in her after she died.
Like, from before or after she died?
After she died. So like when she was dead, 7 different lads went in and had a go at her. See, this is kind of like what I heard. This could be an urban legend, but like that's allegedly 7 different guys had to go at her after she died.
That's fucked up.
I forgot. Sometimes I forget, like, when you're doing a podcast, other people can hear this conversation. You really have to remind yourself every now and again.
This is one of the things where your ma thinks we shouldn't talk about this.
Yeah, she definitely would say that. She didn't think what we're going to talk about later on. We shouldn't talk about. She would definitely be like, Mark, stop bringing this stuff up.
Like, what?
Have you never heard that story? Like, Marilyn?
I've never heard that story.
Well, allegedly, this is what happened. After she died, they found 7 different guys' semen in her. So then,
7?
7. Like, there must have been a queue.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they must have been, like, just lining up. Like, she, at this stage, like, I'm not justifying what these were doing, but at this stage, she would have been, like, a glamour model to, like, all these people. She was an icon of beauty at this time.
She was dead.
I know she was dead, and it's still gross. And like, obviously, these people who work in these hospitals, like, this is going to be my only chance to ever have sex with someone like this. I was just like, okay, I'm taking my opportunity. It mightn't be perfect.
And then the first guy told his friend about it. His friend was like, oh, you know what?
The first guy walked in. The second guy walked in, and the first guy came in and got, okay, that's disgusting. I won't tell you, but I'm having her after you. And then they just kept going. Like, so they're in the canteen, they're chatting about it, and someone overhears, and then the third guy goes, hey, are you talking about having sex? Yeah, I've just finished it.
And the thing that's not told in that story is there's only 7 lads working there that
day. Yeah. Like, but it's like the second or third lad. Like, seriously, your dick's gonna be covered in like other people's semen.
Like,
yeah, it's not worth even thinking about it, to be honest with you. But like,
it's not worth it. What made you think that it might be worth it?
Like, we're talking about, I don't know. We're talking about dead bodies. That's my one other dead body famous person story that I have.
This is why iTunes have a problem with us.
It could be so. Like, they should really point it out to us. We should also do a lot more research. There's like, this show is like, it's only probably like 20 minutes old, and it's like, it's already probably filled with like inaccuracies. But from the present day and previous day. So yeah, so that's our dead body story. We have another one, but now we must move on to a weird family triangle.
Okay.
So Ken, you know how all the porn sites are basically filled with stepfather porn or stepmother porn or something to do with people who are slightly related to each other.
Okay.
You know how that's a big thing right now?
Is it?
Allegedly it is. apparently that's the thing. This is kind of happening in real life, but in a kind of weird way. It involves a dad and his daughter.
Is there any way that's not weird?
Oh no, this story's just weird, and it's weird that all porn sites are filled with it. That is also very weird.
Okay.
Like this, like that's a story that really no one's really talking about. That's just fucking really weird. But anyway, we'll get onto this weird story, and then maybe we'll come back to that. This involves a dad and his daughter, but not in the way you kind of think, especially after the intro. Basically, the dad is now getting engaged to his daughter's ex-boyfriend, and they did it while he was on holiday with his daughter. So he's got engaged to his daughter.
Was the ex-boyfriend on holidays with them as well?
Yeah, so the dad was on. So basically, the dad is now engaged to his daughter's ex-boyfriend. So he was on. Yeah, so three of them were on holidays together, and the dad, Barry.
Oh, of course, his name is Barry.
Proposed to his daughter, Saffron, ex-boyfriend.
Was he already going out with the ex-boyfriend?
Yeah. So there's a bit of context again. This is like kind of a spider web of weirdness. And
there's so much weirdness going on in this now. This needs further explanation.
Do you know what? It's only going to get a bit weirder. This is the kind of base of the weirdness. There's a lot more layers to this as we go on. So Barry and his ex-husband now, Tony, were hit the headlines back in 1999
and they've split up. So it's his ex-husband.
Scott is it's the new guy. So you're going to have to pay along. There's a lot of names to go in this. So
Jesus.
So now we're going to go back in history. We're now in 1999. We're not in 2020. Barry and his husband at the time, his ex-husband now, Tony, hit the headlines after they became the first gay men to father twins via surrogacy, however you say that word.
Surrogacy.
That's it, surrogacy. So fast forward 20 years. Saffron's now 20. Scott, her ex-boyfriend, who they date for a couple of months, is 25. Who he left Saffron for Barry, who's 50.
Okay.
And Tony, who's Barry's ex-husband, they still live together.
Okay.
And after 1999, they went on to have 3 more kids, all from the same mate.
Okay.
So it's important to remember that they still live together, right? Because now Scott and Barry are expecting a child as well.
Scott's which one?
So Scott's the 25-year-old fiance of Barry, who's the ex of his daughter Saffron, who was the twin 20 years ago, back in 1999. So like he's now 50. Barry's now 50, and he's expecting a child with Scott as well, and he still lives with Tony in a $6 million 10-bedroom mansion in Florida.
Of course, they're rich.
Oh yeah, he is minted risk. If anything, Scott's a bit of a gold digger. He obviously seen the father, seen the money, and said, "Forget her, I'm going after him." And has upgraded to Barry, who is 50, and between him and Tony, they're worth $52 million or £40 million. So like I can already see Channel 4 writing them out a blank check and saying, whatever you want, lads, whatever you want, let us stick a camera in your lives. This is
Channel 4, or else what's that other fucking channel?
E Entertainment.
That's the one.
Yeah, E Entertainment or Channel. They're like, honestly, this is a reality show waiting to be happen, and I'm kind of feeling that they hit the newspapers with this story is maybe to float the idea of a reality TV show.
There should be a movie as well, I'd say.
Well, I think it's more suited to like reality TV.
It'd be kind of like one of those daytime TV movies. You know those fucking shite things. Yeah.
Now, like, obviously, Saffron's cool with it because she's went on holidays. Like, if they're at the point where they're going to get engaged, Saffron obviously knows that they're together. She's probably come to terms with her ex-boyfriend has left her for a father. I'm pretty sure that was kind of hard to get over. And like that she's now on holidays with them in Croatia.
Like, surely you'd be pissed off with at least one of them.
Yeah, like, it's really hard. It must be a hard pill to swallow if someone leaves you for your dad. Like,
Like, it'd be bad enough if somebody just left her for somebody else.
Yeah, but the fact that they know it's your parent would be extremely hard. But she obviously had a pretty weird childhood because she's seemingly okay with it. And the fact that, one, her dad's living with his ex-husband in the same house and also having a boyfriend who's also her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, it's all very weird.
Yeah, so the proposal happened on a boat with a rose petal decorating floor and candles on the everywhere, and it was 2 big rings, and very romantic and all that, I'm sure. So Barry and Tony, who's 55, who are worth 40 mil, they live in a 10-bedroom house, and Tony is going to be the godfather, Scott's and Barry's child. So he's going to be the godfather. So he's also cool with his ex-husband, who he lives in a house with, having a child, and he's cool enough to be the godfather to their child. So
that's nice.
This family is very, very understanding. That's what I'm getting from this. This family is extremely understanding about this weird web of triangles. Now, Barry was doing an interview.
It's more of a square, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We don't know any of their other kids. It could be a hectagon by all that we know.
Yeah, but even just like that, the 4 people that were involved, like, so he's living with his ex, he's going out with his daughter's ex, so like that's kind of square.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I think it was the idea to triangle that all people in the party link up at one point. So I don't think they're doing that with the daughter.
Yeah, but the boyfriend was the ex-boyfriend.
Was, yeah, yeah. Okay, we'll take it. This is kind of a weird square. Yeah, so Barry was giving an interview to the Sun, and basically,
of course he was.
Basically, he said, "We are thrilled. We're going to become daddies again. Tony is excited too, although it does mean that our marriage is really over. So it's a bitter pill to swallow, but we're really all going to remain living under the same roof. Tony's dad, I'm daddy," which is like, okay, fair enough. And Scott is stepdad, but soon he's going to be called daddy too.
What? So they're all going to be called dad?
Well, no, Tony's dad. So obviously in their relationship, in order to distinguish, they had one daddy and one dad. So
yeah, but he said somebody's going to be daddy too.
Yeah, Scott's going to be daddy too. So he's right now his title in the house.
So there's going to be dad, daddy, and daddy too.
Yeah. So right now they have stepdad, which is Scott, which is also his daughter's ex. So he's stepdad, and he's soon going to be upgraded from stepdad to daddy too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because obviously they all have to have their own title. Tony's dad.
Okay.
Yeah, but like to like his kids, he's like, to like Saffron. Surely Scott is just going to remain Scott. She's not going to call her ex-boyfriend daddy too.
No, he's daddy too now.
Like that. Imagine going, yeah, I'm marrying your ex-boyfriend, and I would appreciate if you call him by his proper title, daddy too. So, like,
is it like daddy too though, or daddy TOO?
Daddy TWO, as in second daddy.
Yeah, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, like it should be just like,
why not call one of them father?
Yes.
So you can have dad, daddy, and father.
I don't understand, because like Scott is just Scott to his kids, and he's only going to be daddy to, or dad to, one child in that family. And if I'm pretty sure they're probably all moved out of the house, unless they all live in Florida in the 10-bedroom mansion.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Like Florida's.
Chances are they probably do.
Yeah, well, they have such a big house, and like Florida is a nice place to live. So I guess you can live in a giant mansion for free, or you can like try to make it on your own. I'm pretty sure these kids are probably all living. Maybe they're all scared and just wanted to get the hell out of there. We don't really know.
They're all scared.
Well, the fact that one of the dads went off with your boyfriend, like how many times have they came onto their boyfriends? The fact that now he's getting married to one. Like this is. Oh, I wonder if this is one once-off occasion.
But like,
imagine like bringing someone home and your parents constantly would like hit on them.
Yeah.
So like it's just a really, really weird story, and but apparently they're happy, and they're going to be co-parents.
Well, that's the main thing.
Yeah, and I think their kids are okay with it too. Well, this is all going to like Barry. He said, "Hey, our kids are all cool too."
It's a strange situation.
Yeah, and he ended by saying, "If people don't get it, that's their problem, not ours." So, I guess.
Okay, I suppose he has a point.
Yeah, well, like in fairness, if everyone's okay with the situation, okay, it's weird. It's a very, very different situation. But if the daughter's okay with it, the fact that she's willing to go on a holiday with the two of them together by herself, then like she's obviously cool with them getting married. She's probably happy about them getting engaged. Like obviously her ex-boyfriend now likes men. It will probably was a surprise to her.
Yeah.
But she probably had a lot of surprises.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, is he gay or is he like bi? Like,
I imagine that he could have either been with her from a young age and maybe didn't know, and then obviously the dad was like, he had feelings for the dad, being like, okay, I'm not into you the way I thought I once was, and in fairness, I'm into your dad. And she's like, cool.
Like, yeah, that's another thing. How do you have that conversation?
I imagine, yeah. Like, imagine maybe she just walked in one day and this is like, oh, seen him, like, I had it on the couch. Like, I don't know. But they didn't go into that much detail, thank God. Oh,
it leaves all these questions, Mark.
It does leave all these questions. But the important thing is they're happy.
That's, yeah. Once everybody's happy, they're happy, leave them at it.
Our next guy is definitely not happy because he went out on a session. He's 40 years old and I think he's from China. Had 10 beers in one go, which isn't a lot. But anyway, like the fact of what happened to him, he went out in China, had 10 beers, passed out, and basically slept through the most of the next day. To the fact that he woke up from his like sleeping haze, feeling like an intense abdominal pain. So he obviously knew something was up. So he was rushed to hospital where it was discovered that he ruptured his bladder.
How? What did he do?
He had, when he fell asleep, he had held his urine for 18 hours, which caused him basically to erupt his bladder.
Like, surely now that's the kind of thing where your body kind of just automatically pisses.
We will get into this in a second. So it says here that as his bladder was damaged due to the increased pressure inside his organs damaged, they were able to rescue him. He had reconstruction surgery and now he's more or less all right.
Okay.
So they were able to repair his bladder after it basically tore. It didn't like explode, but it tore basically quite badly. So doctors were able to basically repair the damage and he's all right, I guess. So,
he's having a crack again, like.
So doctor. So basically, this goes into basically a bit of information about your bladder and liquids in your bladder. Doctor recommend that you should regularly empty your bladder about once every 3 hours. Healthy bladder can hold up to 2 cups of urine. It might go 10 hours before needing to pee. So that's a really healthy bladder can go between 10 hours between when you need to pee. But you should generally do it every 3 hours is regularly enough. And they say about 2 cups of urine is basically normal that's basically all your body can produce is basically 2 cups of urine. Once it has that, you kind of need to pee.
Where does that account for peeing then? If you should empty your bladder every 3 hours, sure, like you're going to sleep for how long?
I think that's why they might suggest that you pee before you go to bed. So your body doesn't like naturally like you'll fill up with urine, but do it slower. Because your body kind of slows down, maybe.
Yeah, it surely his body should have like if it was getting to the point where it's damaging, your body should have released anyway.
So yeah, so that's what I say where it gets into it. So it says drinking alcohol can actually make you pee more, which we all know about. Should have been pissing like a racehorse when you start drinking. But not everybody. Some people have the opposite effect when it comes to alcohol. Essentially increases the production of urine, but it can suppress a hormone which signals your kidneys to stop making urine in some cases. And he said some people basically, if they fall asleep, their body doesn't like tell them, wake them up that they need to like pee. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night after drinking and you really need to take a piss?
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen for everybody. And what happened was he not only did that not happen, but then he slept for 18 hours. He slept for like most of the next day. So he was asleep for so long and all that urine was just building up in his body. So the fact when he eventually did wake, his body was his bladder was under increased pressure and basically tore from it.
Jesus.
Yeah, and it basically kind of stopped. Have you ever had to need to pee for so badly and you had to hold it for so long?
Yeah, there's two things. Like, one, you can hold your pee so long that you kind of don't need to pee anymore. You ever do that?
Yeah. I think most people have been there where they really needed to pee and you hold it and you're like, oh, well, I can't pee until I get to here. Or I'm in my car. And you can kind of forget about it.
Yeah, and then the other one is, like, do you ever be doing something and you hold your pee and you hold it and you hold it and you hold it till you can't hold it anymore? And when you start to pee, it starts to hurt. Like, your bladder hurts as it's emptying.
Maybe like one or two cases. I remember of that happening, but I remember one guy that I used to work with, and he said he was trying to train his body to withhold peeing. So like he'd say, "Oh, I really need to pee," but I go, "All right, stop at a shop for you," or I told him where the toilets are, or else you can go behind somewhere where there's no cameras. And it's like,
yeah, and
he's like, "No, I want to hold my pee. I'm training my body to be able to hold my urine." I was like, that's definitely not good for you. Like,
was there a reason behind it?
I don't know. I don't know why he was doing it. He just thought like he wants to be able to have like, I think he thought he could train his way to have a really healthy bladder that he can hold a lot of water, and he thought by not peeing would increase his bladder size.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that would actually make it worse.
Yeah, if anything, that's going to cause like problems when he gets older.
I think what happens to some people is that it can just cause them to wet the bed. Like, there's people out there, anytime they drink alcohol, they can sometimes wet the bed.
Yeah.
And like the body doesn't signal to them like that, like, oh, wake up, you need to pee. It's just like they just fall asleep, but then their bladder like can't hold it anymore, so they just pee.
Yeah, you should definitely pee if you need to pee.
Yeah.
Basically.
I just think it's a very extreme example of what can happen to you if you don't pee.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think it happens that often that somebody's going to fucking sleep for 18 hours and not pee. And
yeah, that's a very extreme example of like what can happen if you don't pee. Like, we've all had to hold it maybe for 20 minutes or whatever before we really needed a pee. But like, I remember, I think Mythbusters were doing a thing on peeing, and they're saying when you like initially feel like you need to go to the toilet, your bladder's only actually really half full at that stage.
Yeah, it's only starting to get like, is it half or 2/3 or something?
Yeah, 2/3 full. There's actually plenty more room there to go. But obviously, it wants you to get rid of that liquid so it doesn't fill up too much.
Oh, I was going to say something, I can't remember what it was.
Must be a lie.
Must have been. Something to do with peeing, I can't remember.
Yeah, but that's basically the peeing story, really. It was just about a guy who went out and had a moderately large amount of drink and then ended up like tearing his bladder because he didn't wake up for like 18 hours.
Yeah, I thought of it. It was, what sort of a lightweight is he that he has 10 beers and passed out for 18 hours?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, at the start, like, I was like, okay, it's not to seem like the stereotypical Irish people going, 10 beers, lightweight.
But like, seriously, 10 beers.
It's basically what people do on a Saturday night all around Ireland. Like they'd have about 8 to 10 beers on a night out. Okay, they'd be steaming drunk, but like,
yeah,
there isn't as a large cases of people just peeing or like bladders exploding around Ireland.
Yeah, like generally you'll still get up like 4 hours later and go to work.
Yeah, well, you probably shouldn't get up 4 hours later and get into a car after drinking 10 beers.
Oh well, you might necessarily get into a car, but you go to work. Like.
Yeah, get on a bike.
Yeah, or walk, or get a lift in, or
and just like be absolutely useless to anybody that actually needs you to do anything.
Like that's happened to me a couple of times. Like I remember when it was the first year that I had moved out at home. Like when I moved in with 18, I went to my Christmas party in work, and I was working the next day, and like obviously got absolutely fucking pissed at the Christmas party. But the next day, like I got up and I was feeling grand. I was in work at 2, so I was like, I'm grand. Like drove into work, and then when I got to work, I was like, oh no, I'm still fucked. Like I actually feel really fucked, and I had to ring my parents to come and pick up my car and give me a lift home from work.
Oh really?
Yeah, like it just like hit me again. Like when I got up and I drove to work, I was like, no, I'm fine. Then when I got into work, I was like, nah, I'm definitely not fine.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it was me who mixed up today or somebody mixed up today, but it was like a Christmas party. We were out, it could be in for one of the clubs or something, club that we were at, and I got woken up at like, I didn't know, I think it was the afternoon that I was working in, but I got woken up and told, Mark, you're in work in an hour. And I was like, what? I was like, there's no way I'm going to make it in an hour. I was like, so like, someone else had to cover me as a driver, and I had to like go as a helper. I was like, oh, that day. I remember one time, and there was another time in a Christmas, after a Christmas party, or after some kind of a grading party, and I had to be in work for 7:30, and I was a helper at the time anyway, and it was an 18-hour day.
Oh.
18 hours after being up till 1 a.m, like out drinking, making it into work for 7:30, and then not finishing the day till 12 o'clock. It was horrendous of a day. But yeah, so your man's a lightweight. Basically, the moral of that story and all the other stories is your man's a bit of a pussy.
Your man's a bit of a bollocks.
We're very judgmental on this show and factually inaccurate. That should be the tagline for the Shite Talk podcast show.
What, we're judgmental?
Judgmental and factually inaccurate.
Baseless facts and absolutely judgmental as fuck.
Yeah, pretty much sums us up. Your second dead body story of the day, Ken.
Yeah, so like, you know the way, particularly when you work for like a bigger company or an international corporation, people would say like, oh, I don't know why you're so loyal to whoever the name of the company is, because if you were to die, they wouldn't care. They'd just replace you and move on.
Yeah. I kind of feel when people say that, like, saying to them, were you hugged enough as a kid? Like, did you constantly need affection? But anyway, go on.
There's a supermarket chain in Brazil, where an employee had a heart attack, and his fellow colleagues gave him first aid and stuff, but he ended up dying.
Yeah.
And the management in the store, so that they didn't have to close the store, decided that they would close off the aisle that he died in and cover his body with umbrellas so the customers didn't see him.
Ah, the old, if they can't see it, there's no dead person here trick.
And it took 4 hours for a coroner to arrive to take the body away.
4 hours?
Yeah, so they closed off the aisle and they covered him with umbrellas and left him there for 4 hours.
Like, surely, okay, they have to probably do some kind of make sure and something sinister didn't happen to him. But surely they could just preserve the area and take the body away.
Well, like, surely they could have just like closed the shop and called the guards.
Yeah, like obviously they had to report like a death.
Yeah, well, maybe not call the guards. They could have closed the store and called an ambulance.
hugely shitty, the fact that like they didn't close the store. But you think covering his body with umbrellas is so disrespectful. Like, at least take him out of the area where people can't see, where people can't just realize that there's a dead body there.
Yeah, and then there's been like a bit of public outcry over it, obviously, and the company have now published an extra like guideline for management where if if in the rare situation an employee dies, the shop must close immediately.
You should go, okay, we've looked at our protocol and now we're going to change it. That should just be obvious. There's certain things you don't have to be told to do before you realise it. It shouldn't have to be written out in paper in legal text. They go, what should I do if a member of the store dies? Like, of course you close the store.
But like, what was the previous policy to just cover them with umbrellas and act like nothing?
I think they're acting on impulse. But the fact that like people and staff workers actually went along with it, and they're like, okay, I'll get the umbrellas. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, under no fucking circumstances am I getting umbrellas. We need to close this fucking shop down. Like,
they probably don't have a union or anything. Like, they probably would have all gotten sacked.
yeah, that possibly is the case, or they need a job. So,
Or it being Brazil, maybe they would have been shot.
yeah, like probably needed to work and probably couldn't go. Like, if they stopped working, they mightn't be getting paid. Might have been like, okay, well you've only done 2 hours, so and you're meant to do like 10 hours, so
Definite shitty thing to be doing.
yeah. I like the decent thing we do. Give all the staff that day full pay for the day and send them home, or you close down the store and have the thing. But you think even if you couldn't afford to pay the staff they're on full wage for the day, and you couldn't afford to close down the store for whatever financial reason, cocaine is expensive or whatever the reason it is that you can't close down that store, like, take the body out of the shop. Like, put it somewhere where instead of covering it over like it's fucking a puke on the floor, like, have a bit of respect. Surely there should be something like somewhere that's like, you don't cover with umbrellas.
But like, what I want to know as well is, like, I know in work, if something happens, if you close off an aisle, customers are going to be like, what's going on in there?
Yeah, exactly. I want to go in. Oh, I wanted to get bleach.
Yeah, I want to go down the aisle. Oh, sorry, Johnny's after dying down there.
Yeah. What's under the umbrellas? We'll want to have a look. It draws a crowd.
Like,
But like, I guess like I was going to say, has there ever been a serious injury? But like, I think that's a little bit different than a person dying. Because generally, if it's a serious injury, they're going to go off to hospital. They're going to get, like, you don't really need to close down the store for that. So
it's usually the first thing you do is you go over, like where I work, if there's an incident, you go over and you like make sure that the person is okay. If they need first aid, you find somebody that can give them first aid. And then if needed, you call an ambulance or the guards or whoever the fuck. Like, there was, like, well, there's been people knocked down in the car park. Like, we didn't just cover them in umbrellas and just carry on.
Okay, let's just move them to the side of the curb.
Yeah.
Find me a few cones and a few umbrellas.
Everybody back to work now.
Everyone back to work. None to see. Yeah, no, that's it's appalling that happened. Now, I did see the story, and the article did look like it was in the UK, and it would just make it any better that's in Brazil or anywhere in the world. No matter what the state of the country is, decency for a human life should apply.
Yeah, like, definitely don't be covering shit with umbrellas.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is don't
at least use a blanket.
Yeah, if you wake up in the middle of the night, pee, and don't cover dead people with umbrellas. Like,
yeah,
if you take anything from that podcast today, it's don't cover dead people with umbrellas and pee every 3 hours.
Yeah, if possible.
If possible. And I think that's going to be the end of our show. It's some some life
Not
advice for our podcast listeners out there,
We're going to end on some medical advice that you probably should take.
or probably already know. Like, I think the fact that we feel like we need to tell our listeners that they need to pee, and also that, like, if someone dies, that it's not okay to just cover them with umbrellas
And carry on.
Like, I wonder what stop a crowd forming around the umbrellas. Like, what did they do? Did they like, hey, we're gonna put strippers on in the TV section?
Yeah,
We're gonna play porn.
Or how do you stop people wanting stuff from that aisle? Like, what did they do there?
Like, I don't know, cause an even bigger distraction, like putting porn on the TV aisle. Babe
Like,
Station. People like, this is outrageous. And then going over, oh, look at Babe Station's on. That would do it. I think that would distract people enough, the fact that there's dead on. If they just put on Babe Station, whatever the Brazilian version of Babe Station is. If that ever happens, try that move for any
Try that move.
Stick on porn on the opposite end of the aisle.
And just act as if nothing happened.
Yeah, this is like, because then what people are going to be complaining is not complaining that an aisle being closed. It's the fact that there's Babe Station on in the TV aisle. They're like, I'll address that in a minute.
Which would you prefer people complaining the head office about? A dead body on the floor?
Or Babe Station on the TV? I actually know a person who as a prank, used to go into like phone shops and be on the iPads, and the iPads would like have displays once, like they're turned on and they've accessed the internet, but obviously there's like strictly control what you can go on. However, he used to go onto YouTube and find weird, disgusting videos on like of people like doing like extreme forms of porn that were like on YouTube that are labeled at different things, play them on the floor and then walk out, and then he'd be down the road and you'd see your man come out and go and scream at him. It was a great prank. I was like, oh, that's amazing. It's like, the TV should follow you around.
I'm assuming this was like years ago.
Oh yeah, this is years ago. This is like this is a good few years ago.
It's like last year.
No, it was like at least 6 years ago. Well, it was actually, yeah, it's really funny. So anyway, now we have other advice for people. Don't cover people with umbrellas. Pee regularly. And if someone does die in your store and you feel the need to cover it up and you're wondering for like, yeah, don't. First of all, don't. But like, if you need a distraction, Babe Station is the way to go.
Or disgusting videos on YouTube.
Yeah, to start YouTube with weird videos. Like, you just need to get people away from that spot. Free cocktail tasting. That would also do it. But like, just stop covering up dead bodies. I think it's like one lesson people should take from this show.
Or samples in the alcohol section.
Yeah, that also would work.
Or yeah, something like that.
We should stop giving people advice of like how to distract people if someone dies. If their main advice is just close down the store.
yeah, maybe do that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like today this show has been very informative.
Yeah, for once.
Informative but factually inaccurate. So all the information is a load of crap, but it's been informative in the most misleading way possible. And
you've been informed that it's a load of crap.
So like, you've been warned. Do not follow anything from the Shite Talk Podcast Show. We are back on iTunes. That's the good news. We should be back.
not for long, probably.
Well, for now, we're back on iTunes. So obviously, if you're listening to this, you should already know that. And if you don't listen to it, who gives a fuck about iTunes when you listen to it on Spotify?
I wonder why iTunes don't like us.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they listen to every podcast. Probably dabble.
They probably have some sort of like technology that goes through the podcast and listens for specific phrases like "fuck iTunes."
iTunes wankers. And then it slows down this. Probably like if they have key phrases, I think we flag them like a lot of the time anyway.
Yeah, like the next time you like tweet about having a problem with iTunes and the podcast, they're going to just send you back a clip of us saying "fuck iTunes."
Well, it's the fact that like I think I complained about iTunes and then I put up a short clip of a video about Pornhub. You could have just retweeted and said example.
Oh.
But that porn clip was fucking educational as fuck.
Educational. It gave some real insight into what the fuck's going on.
People's porn habits around the world. It's like check out on our Twitter and Instagram accounts, videos up there with graphs Facebook. And everything. Hard hitting graphs.
Hard hitting graphs.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time on that video. 15 minutes. Took 4
hours. Mark spent a lot of time researching that video.
Wore me out. So, like, appreciate the hard work that was put in. Time and hour researching those facts and videos. I mean, facts only.
2 weeks in lockdown.
2 weeks in lockdown. All through March. But we'll be back next Thursday / it could possibly be Friday. But we'll be back next week with another episode. We're very weird ending to the show. Very weird show altogether. Countdown's on to 204.
Just send us weird shit.
Please do. We'll be back next week.
Good luck.
Shut up and sit down.